How's it going, everyone? My name is Falling Hurts, and today I come to you with some bad and also some good news, and I'm gonna do a little quick recap to catch everyone up to speed as well. But without further ado and no beating around the bush, today we'll be talking about the delay of Sons of the Forest, the sequel to the indie survival game The Forest from 2014. Now, I have made videos in the past breaking down the top details of the game that you need to know, like the current release date, and it was always changing. And while there are still parts of those videos that I think are important, I go into some of the finer details than what I'll go into today. One thing that I can say is that the release date was always changing. From 2021 to May 2022, and then October of this year, things were never set in stone. Fortunately, with this delay though, we have been given a specific new release date, and that is February 23rd of 2023. Now, the reason given isn't actually COVID or anything like that, which is what I kind of assumed, and honestly, the earlier delays, that's probably what it was. But rather that they think the size and the scope of the game made it really hard to pinpoint the exact release, which to me only speaks great things that the game is, kind of growing always during development, but I will say that kind of leads a little bit to the idea that maybe there's some mismanagement there or something. Though they did state that this will strictly be for polishing the game, which is really nice. Meaning, ideally, that the focus will be on that, bug fixing, things like that, and not so much new content. So there is a content-locked version of the game that is only getting fixed up until this point. And I will say, at least for the PC launch. As a side note, it is unconfirmed, but if it's anything like the last game, we should expect the console port as well as the VR port of the game to come sometime towards the end of the PC version's lifecycle, without any new major updates or anything like that. So it's going to be a little while, but maybe it won't be as long this time around. But back to the delay. Unfortunately, the comments have had a tinge of negativity to them. But hey, it really is what it is. And to me, take all the time you need. I don't need this game right now. There's other games I'll be able to play like Scorn or Atomic Heart or even A Plague Tale Requiem. All games coming out. All games I'm excited for. Well, I mean, maybe not Atomic Heart, but they did reaffirm that it will be the end of 2022. Look out for my video coming on that sometime next week. Another thing we learned is actually the price of the game, which is going to be $29.99 US dollars, which is $10 above the original price of the previous game. And again, this makes perfect sense because the sense of size and scope of the game is much larger, at least from what they've shown off and what they've talked about so far. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and throw this out here now, that everything from here on out will be kind of recapping stuff that we already know, but going over why you should be excited and why some of these changes may have needed to happen. So I guess you could kind of, yeet on out of here now if you really don't want to see this, but trust me, I think some of this discussion is good, as it kind of justifies where the developers are at, and we can kind of get an idea of what to expect. So first off, the visuals, like the overhauled animations, textures with photogrammetry tech, and even cool effects like snow deformation and the tree degradation as we hit them, all really showcase exactly what we're to expect from the upgrades from the previous game. Again, justifying the delay, the price increase from the previous game, all things that are super important. Now, throw in some really nice lighting effects and some even better shadows from what I can see, and you might even have yourself a damn creepy game. Continuing on with the visual horror, there's actually quite a few different enemies in the game that we've seen being added, and even the ones that have made their way from the previous game all look a lot better and a lot more detailed in this one. And I'm just really excited to see what all we can fuck around with as far as the mechanics go of these creatures. Now, I know what you're thinking. Outside of visually, what else is new? Well, actually quite a lot. Considering that the original game came out in early access in 2014, and a lot of new mechanics were added to that game since its launch, there's also going to be quite a few new additions to the gameplay loop in this one from both a story perspective and also just straight up gameplay. Seems like there's going to be a lot of new stuff to do. So starting with the story, it picks up presumably as we play as Timmy, the son of the first game, or if you really want to jokingly say, he is the son of, we'll call the first dad the Forest. Anyway, we are going to be crash landing with our team of operatives or something onto Site 2, which is the second island that was teased at the very end of the first game. Everyone else dies unless you're of course playing co-op, then presumably someone will play as one of these survivors, but you aren't ever going to be alone on the island regardless. There is a new girl, Virginia, much like those multi-legged creatures you saw from the first game, who is still sentient and has her humanity left, while also having the features of those same creatures. and to me she holds a lot of potential for both a story and gameplay aspect. It's said that we don't get quests from her, and we don't necessarily have to escort her, but with having 3 arms she can be very helpful in combat, and we even see her holding multiple guns at once and helping defend our base. We've also seen her react differently to things like the cold environments as well as the sunny warmth where she basks out in the sun. And then considering the fact that for a story implication, she's more than likely going to be another child that was experimented on. And really, I'm not sure exactly how it'll tie in, but I'm almost certain that she will be another child of the program, and that's exactly our main emotional motivation for this character. To keep her around for story's sake, as well as maybe even love her? I don't know, something weird was kind of hinted at somewhere. The new pieces of story don't exactly end there. Obviously, we're going to be searching for clues or, new answers to the questions that we were left with at the end of the first game. What is Site 2? Is the project still going on? Things like that. However, we don't know too much other than what we know now, except at the end of one of the trailers, we do actually get to see something of a cutscene. Human characters helping defend the player character from one of the larger enemies. But that's all we really know right now, but there's something you can count as an upgrade. Humans walking around potentially in the world between Virginia as a friendly AI, and then also potentially these characters as we go through a new gameplay element, and that is the bunkers. In these bunkers we can find different story elements, much like the caves and a few other points of interest in the previous game, but these seem to be pretty apparent that they were going to be all across the island, and big story moments from what I can tell. Another of the new things that we actually do find in the bunker is the Fabricator itself. An item that allows us to craft different things with different resources and different dyes. For instance, like the masks. It's hinted at that there are different tribes or different levels of cannibals on the island. And to blend in with different ones and act in different ways, perhaps you have to wear a different colored or different type of mask. So you need a different mask for a different job, which would be really, really cool, and a social stealth element to something like that would also be really, really nifty. We get to see plenty of features returning, such as, carrying logs and building, but then we get to see updates to things like that as well. For instance, the building seems a lot more modular, and definitely a lot more diverse in what we can create. Another upgrade to the game's systems, and something you'll have to look out for while making your base, is actually the dynamic weather, as well as the changing of seasons. Yes, something that's really big in this game is actually going to be the changing of the weather. You see snow and sun throughout the trailer. It's implied that these are actually in different locations, so there could be biomes across the map, much like the first game, but I wouldn't rule out the possibility that you actually might get a snowstorm and different weather conditions throughout all of the game. So with that being said, and with new gameplay to look forward to, as well as updated mechanics from the previous games, and then on top of that, amazing visuals from everything we've seen, and it all looks really smooth, something I gotta say. And that's something I noticed as soon as they said that they were still polishing the game, and I really do appreciate this, is that the game has never looked choppy in any meaningful ways. Like, yes, I'm sure there's probably frame rate issues in the game right now, and that's what they're fixing, but everything they've shown in the trailers looks good. Something that you can't say about every game in its marketing right now. I mean, look at Sonic Frontiers, a AAA game. The stuff they show off has to be in lower FPS. There's other games, plenty of different examples that they say, hey, it's going to be fixed by launch. Well, everything they show off in the forest already looks amazing. Sure, they may not be showing everything, but that's okay. Because you know what? They've delayed the game again, and personally, a delayed game, it could be good, but a game that was rushed is never good. Something. Yeah. Miyamoto. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. There's everything you have to look forward to in Sons of the Forest. If you want to see a more in-depth video of everything, but not just a kind of sum up, then hey, maybe I'm your guy. But for now, that's it for me. I have videos on Atomic Heart, Sons of the Forest, The Day Before, and I'll even have reviews for like Scorn, A Plague Tale Requiem, different games like that I'm going to be expecting to see very soon. Regardless, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you consider subscribing. And yeah, that's really it. Bye.